What's up? Coach Ty here, and I help make fitness fun, interesting, and playful so that you want to keep doing it. I'm also a corrective exercise specialist, and what I've been doing for years and years and years is blending those two things together through curious movement. That's what I call it. And today's going to be a little rough because I never really put it into words the way I'm going to try to attempt to here. I probably should have written this out first, but I'm just going to go for it. Curious movement, and I want to talk about why curious before I go into connecting it to movement. So curiosity is important aspect of playfulness in general. Exactly. I'm with my 4-month-old now, and we as adults need play in our lives, like intentional play, because the pressures of, especially being, if you're in the US, the pressures of being an adult can kind of dim your light and dim you down, and then you don't even know who you are anymore. You start not being yourself because you're so rigid and crunchy and crusty, and then that can lead into a lot of physical issues as well as mental, right? That's why we need play. And so the curiosity aspect is important because it actually diminishes the anxious wiring in your brain. If you're often avoiding situations because you're anxious or fearful about them, or you something happens and you start spiraling, like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And then you start to feel kind of tense, really tense maybe, and it shows up in your body. So we use curiosity because instead of being afraid of uncertainty, we embrace it and we question it. So when you're curious, it's more of I wonder if instead of a what if. And when you start to practice curiosity, and your brain kind of rewires itself. It loosens up, not in a bad way, not in a dangerous way, but in a way that releases tension in our brains and bodies. Even with dating, I'm married. Yeah, I'm married now, but in the past when I was dating, and you get anxious about waiting for a guy to text you or something. And instead of being anxious about it, and then you end up texting him, I'm big on not texting guys. At least for the first month. Okay, that's just me though. Like I said, I'm married. But you start, I wonder if he will. I wonder what he'll say. I wonder what will happen next. And then the more, so that's why curiosity is important part of having a playful mindset. And so I use the body and movement as a gateway for that playful mindset. The body is a wonderful playground, and it is a playground where it's a lot easier to feel safe. So how does this apply to movement? Okay, Ty, I get it. Curiosity is good. It did not always kill the cat. It actually helped the cat survive and heal and thrive. Well, I'll go into what I've done for my clients over the past a lot of years. For example, my clients with low back pain, I teach them to be curious about how they're moving, what they're doing throughout the day. Because the back pain doesn't just come because, I'm 40 years old, so I'm supposed to have back pain. No, it's a reason for it, and we can figure out why, like a puzzle. And so what I've noticed a lot of times, especially in my male clients, is that the lack of hip movement. They don't move their hips when they walk or when they do things. So that lack of hip movement is causing their back, low back especially, to do the work instead. And that causes discomfort or pain. So the more I train them and work with these people, the more now they are wiring their brain to be like, oh, something's happening here. Why? Instead of, oh no, something's happening here. No. What is it? And so the more they work with me, the more they can look at little nuances. Knee pain, inner knee pain especially. Why? Oh, okay, I need to go get these cortisone shots. I need all this. I'm freaking out. I can't. Okay. Why is your inner knee sore? Why is it in pain? I'm just old. No. There's a reason why. And now as a corrective exercise, I can kind of look at it. I have a trained eye to see, oh, you're putting so much weight, too much weight, an excessive amount of weight into your inside foot. My little baby here will tell me when I'm going on too long about this subject. On this inside foot. That's the curiosity. Okay, why is this happening? Oh, I'm putting too much weight on the inside of my foot. What do I do now? Curiosity. I shift some weight to the outside of the foot now to help stabilize the knee. Obviously, not everyone is going to know this, right? That's why I'm trained to do it, and that's why people hire me to help them do this. But the more you work with someone, it doesn't have to be me, but someone who will train you to be more curious about yourself and how you move, the more your brain is wired to do that on its own. So when you're exercising, say you're not in pain, right? You're just exercising, you're just doing, or you're walking, or you're standing, or you're doing something that doesn't cause pain. But now you're curious, like, oh, what happens if I put more weight on my heels while I stand? Oh, what happens if I put more weight on the front of my foot? Oh, you just start asking these questions and like start experimenting with your body. What happens if I put down these 10-pound weights that I've been using for the last month and pick up 15 pounds? What happens? Oh, I can do it. What happens if I use a 30-pound weight today? Oh, I can do it. Or, oh, this is really hard. Maybe I'll work my way up to doing it and it feels easier. Right? There's all these ways to ask questions instead of think of the worst thing, the what if situation. He wants to talk to me. Okay, I have to say hi to him. So that is what curious movement is. Another way to, I know, I can keep going, but should I? Okay, one more thing. Another way to incorporate more curious movement into your life is using your imagination. And now when you're anxious, a lot of time your imagination can kind of go in the negative spiral, right? But when you're curious, you can use your imagination to think about how your body is moving. One of my clients, we were working on her knee pain, and we noticed that she is very heavy in the knees. Like she just kind of uses her forefoot a lot, which puts a lot of pressure in the knees. And so I asked her, what if you imagine space between the knee, the space between the thigh bone and the leg bone? Because that's what the knee is. It's just thigh bone, leg bone, and then the patella right on top just floats there, right? The knee bone. But so there's a lot of space in there. What if we accessed it? What does that look like? And she's so cute. She came up with these mushrooms. Like she drew it out. Like these little, like these mushrooms sitting on top of each other, just floating on top of, or one floating on top of another. All right, okay, I gotta go. But one floating on top of another. And that was her brain. Come here, baby. Using her imagination. To access her body in a way that felt playful, and fun. And then her pain went away because now she's like, oh, I can remember the space in my body that I need to remember because I can remember these little mushrooms. Okay, I gotta go take care of my baby, but I hope that explained what this movement, curious movement thing is, and I'm going to be talking about it a lot more and hopefully a lot more gracefully as well. All right, bye.